Today's January the 12th of 2026 as I'm recording this. And today we're talking about taking the first step. But what I want to do is let people get them into the live stream for a minute. Right now we have Chris Castro in here with us. One of the ideas that we've been talking about, and I just do a little segue about this. Chris has heard me talk about this a little bit, and I want to invite people who listen to this recording to give us feedback on this idea. But what we want to do is start helping more small groups. We want to use content that we've created in Follower One or content that we found or partnered with other people on. Make that content available to people to coach them on how to create their own small group with their own friends and help those people to live out their faith every day in the workplace. I really think small groups are going to be part of the future of the Faith at Work movement, a big part of the future of the Faith at Work movement. Hey, Larry Tribble, thanks for joining us. And anyway, so part of what I want to do is even take the content from these live streams, these video casts, vision casts rather, and use those as discussion material for a small group. Hi, Lynn. Thanks for joining us. And so that's why I think what I want to do, start with these VisionCast recordings, is to actually have a moment where we have a few minutes where we do the a little bit of the devotional part of this VisionCast, talking about a particular Bible verse and how that contributes to us living out this vision of being productive Christian missionaries in the marketplace. Making that available to people so that they can discuss it in a small group. And so imagine having a small group that looks over a video. Maybe it's a 5-minute video about a particular Bible verse, or maybe it's a clip of some of the discussion we're doing on the Bible passage for today. And having 3 or 4 discussion questions ready, or being the kind of person who can create those. I think I'm one of those people. I can start a conversation about just about anything. And so I'm excited to facilitate small groups in this way to help us get our coworkers to live out our faith on a regular basis. And so you schedule your small group for whenever it's going to meet. I know Larry had done a small group. I think Lynn's in small groups as well. I know Chris Castro's in several. She's actually in some formal ones through the Pinnacle Forum. And I'm in several small groups. I think many of us are in small groups of believers. But having a structure like a time every week where we watch a video or listen to a podcast for a few minutes and then talk about the Bible verses that are being presented. And so that's what I hope happens as a result of these vision casts. And I hope we actually make some really cool headway on that this year. Our vision cast for today is to talk primarily about taking the first step. And the verse that we're going to talk about in the attitude about this, it's about not worrying. There was years ago, I heard Erwin McManus tell a story, and he had a friend who couldn't make up his mind what to do. And this friend was very worried that if he took the wrong first step, he was going to mess everything up. And I think in this passage that we're going to talk about today, we're going to address this fear a little bit. Jesus calls us to be people of action. That's our topic for the entire month. And the first step is a very important key. And the passage that we settled on for today is Psalm 37:23. The steps of a man are established by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Now, I'm actually going to present this verse using 3 different translations today to kind of explain what's going on here. The steps of a man are established by the Lord, and he is a capital H. That he in the New American Standard being capitalized means that it's talking about the Lord. He delights in his the HIS in his is lowercase. So it's talking about the Lord delights in the choice of this man, in the steps of this man. Not even so much the choice, but the steps, the actions. The Lord delights in the action. I think sometimes we forget that the Lord loves it when we step out on what he would have us do. When we're doing what he would like us to do, he especially likes it. But oftentimes, I'm I'm too concerned with this tiny little picture instead of the big picture that God sees. And so I want to ask God to direct my steps and show me what to do. Another translation that shows us a slightly different twist on this is from the Net Bible. The Lord grants success to the one whose behavior, oh, I capitalized that one. I think that's probably wrong. Let me look. I hand typed these. Yes, that one shouldn't be capitalized. The Lord grants success to the one whose behavior, I typoed whose too. I really did a bad job on this one. The Lord grants success to the one whose behavior he finds commendable. And that's Psalm 37:23 from the Net Bible. I'm going to take that off of there because it's so bad. But here, what we're noticing is that this is also telling us that the Lord is expressing, the Lord is appreciative of what's going on here. In the Net Bible, the Lord grants success to the one whose behavior he finds commendable. So the Lord finds this person's behavior commendable, and then he grants success. That's what this passage, that's kind of the twist on this translation that the Net Bible has. Let's see if I messed up this, the New King James. So the third one I wanted to present was the New King James Bible. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Again, what we're saying here is that the Lord is ordering these. He's guiding this man. He's directing this man. When we ask him for direction, he gives it. And the Lord delights in our way. When we start to move, the Lord is delighting. This is about getting us to act. It's about moving us forward. I see Bonnie Mock has joined us too. Thanks for joining, Bonnie. Good morning. So we're talking about Psalm 37:23, and we currently have the New King James Version up here now. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he, with a capital H, delights in his way. So the Lord delights in the way of this man, this good man. I think it's what I'm the point I hope to make in this presentation and the notes that I have on this verse is the action is necessary. You know, we judge ourselves often by our intentions. We judge other people by their results, but we tend to judge ourselves by our actions. I'm sorry, by our intentions, by what we meant to do. We judge other people by what they actually do or by their outcome of their actions. The Lord is guiding our actions. When we follow him, even in uncertain times, and when we're doing something that we're not certain about, and we follow him, the Lord directs our steps. And he delights in the way that we choose, in the actions that we take. I want to remember that today. I'm doing something that I'm not very comfortable doing. I'm filling out a grant request. And I'm just not very comfortable doing those kinds of things. But I'm excited about what God, I believe, is doing in the marketplace and how he's calling us to be ministers in our marketplace. And therefore, I pray about what he's asking me to do, but I definitely take the step because the Lord will delight in my actions, even if we don't get the grant. Even if the results aren't what we think, that's where we get another promise. We actually have another promise that even when the results aren't what we think, we are reminded that God is operating on such a bigger picture that the outcomes that we weren't looking forward to still contribute to a positive result. That's a passage that we're all very familiar with. I have to pull it up another way. I'm having trouble here, but it's Romans 8:28. And we know that God, and I have it from the New American Standard, and partly because of this verse, it's one of the reasons why I like the New American Standard. And we know that God causes all things to work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. God is active in this process. He's not passive. God causes these things to work together for good. So he delights in our actions. Our actions contribute to the bigger picture. And there's always a bigger picture with God, as my friend Ed Hatch said. He said, there's always a bigger picture when it comes to God. And so he delights in my actions. He delights in the confidence that I have to ask him what to do and then to do it. The actions are important. Taking the first step is necessary. Oftentimes it means risking. It means acting in such a way where we're afraid or we're uncertain. The man that Erwin McManus was talking about was very worried that he was going to impact the sovereignty of God or mess up God's plan. And Erwin explained to him, we can't mess up God's plan. God's plan is God's plan. It's going to happen. And us thinking that we can mess up God's plan, McManus said, was like a fly flying into a car windshield saying, take that. You know, we're not going to mess up God's plan. God's doing his plan. Our actions have this ability to include us in his plans or to exclude us from his plans. But he's going to accomplish what he's going to accomplish. And so I want to act to step in to God's plan. My goal in life with everything is to screw up in gear. I want my mistakes to be made in motion. I don't want the mistake of passivity is one of those that I can choose to avoid. Now, there are times when God chooses me to actively wait. He chooses to tell me to actively wait. And he tells us to often actively wait. Waiting is part of God's plan. Everything has a time. He didn't do everything all at the same time. He did some things now, and he did some things 100 years ago, and he's going to do some things some number of years in the future. Time is a factor. So sometimes there's active waiting, but passive waiting for something else to happen, I don't believe that's ever much of God's plan at all. I think God wants me to be intentional and purposeful in the way that I wait or in the way that I act. And so I ask God for direction. I ask God for timing, and then I move. And I think that's what we're all called to do. And this passage is a great reminder. So as this passage said, the steps of a man are established by the Lord, and he delights in his way. I want to do things today that delight the Lord. Don't you? And so I want to encourage us, take a moment and think about what's going on in your life and ask God to show you what he would have you step out and do today. We have this promise in this passage that if we take direction from God, he will delight in our actions. He will delight in our way. Our actions and our choices matter. And so we get to take the first step. We don't have to keep waiting or wondering. We can be bold and confident. I love the fact that I get to go screw up some today. I remember thinking years ago in my career that I wish I just had a job where I was free to go to work and try and do my best every day and not worry about being fired if I messed up. And the Holy Spirit kind of elbowed me and said, well, okay, that's your life as a Christian, because you're not going to get fired from being a Christian. And so you work for Jesus. You can go to work today and take action and do something. So for those of you who are on the chat, thanks, Lynn, for loving the fly illustration. That was, like I said, that was Erwin McManus's. I have an old speech of his where he was talking about that. And but I love the fact that God has called us to be active. in our relationship with him and in our life with him, so that we get to be a part of his plan. We get to step into his plan and his strategy that we are aware of in Romans 8:28 is going to work out for good to all those who are love God and who are called according to his purpose. So it's exciting to me to be um, a part of what he's doing. And so today, I want to challenge us. Where are we waiting? Where are we standing around? Is it time for us to do something? I know for me, there's a deadline. I've got to get this thing done today. So it's exciting to see how God causes the timing of activities and different things. And like Lynn says on here, he redeems it all. He's using all of this. I'm so much smaller than him than I can even comprehend. And my actions are such a small part of what's going on. And yet I can do them and he can delight in them. My actions can be something that bring delight to God and are part of his strategy, and he will use them. So we have this great opportunity today as marketplace Christians to go into our workplace and look for ways to help other people move one notch closer to him. What we do because we follow him matters forever. So for those of you even who are on this live stream today, think about what it is that God would have you do. If you're watching this on video, think about what God would have you do today. Now is the acceptable time. There is something we can do right now, and Jesus will put us to work. He will use us for his glory. Thanks so much for being part of the Vision Cast and for being part of Follower of One. I am excited. I believe God is mobilizing and activating his people. And stay tuned as we come up with more ideas and ways to help other believers live out their faith every day. I think there are a couple of activities going on this week. We have a Marketplace mission trip that starts this Sunday. So if you haven't signed up for the Marketplace mission trip, please do that. Look over in the left-hand menu in the online community and under Marketplace mission trips and select trip number 43 and join it and join us on this mission trip. I'm confident that God is going to use us and use our intentionality and move us closer to him and use us in his world. Thanks for being a Marketplace minister, and thanks for joining me on this podcast today.